Weeks after her triumphant victory, the roar of the crowd still echoed in Aella's ears, but it was no longer a sound of triumph. Now it was a cacophony of expectations, a relentless tide that threatened to drown her. The Obsidian Gauntlet, once a symbol of her ultimate achievement, had become both her greatest asset and her heaviest burden. Its power, raw and untamed, coursed through her veins, amplifying every strike, every block, every movement. But it amplified more than just her physical might. It intensified the immense pressures of her newfound status. Training grounds, once a sanctuary, now felt like a stage where every flinch, every misstep was magnified. The strength the gauntlet offered was intoxicating, a limitless well she could draw from. Yet it felt less like a gift and more like a wild beast. Whispers followed her, of her prowess, of her invincibility, of the black hand that had felled the mountain. Each whisper was a new layer of demand, pressing down on her, stealing the joy from her hard-won victory. The world, it seemed, was heavier with the gauntlet on her arm. Lyraeus the scholar immersed himself in dusty tomes and forgotten scrolls. The cheers of the tournament had faded for him, replaced by a nagging curiosity, a scholar's itch that demanded answers. He'd watched Aella wield the gauntlet, seen the raw power it unleashed, but also the subtle shifts in her demeanor, the lines of strain around her eyes. He suspected the gauntlet was far more than a mere amplifier of physical strength. Its ancient hum, which Aella sometimes mentioned its obsidian depths, hinted at something deeper. Something tied to the very essence of the world itself. He pored over texts on ancient artifacts, on forgotten magic, on the very fabric of creation. The more he read, the more a chilling hypothesis began to form. The Obsidian Gauntlet didn't just grant power. It was a conduit, a focal point that drew in and magnified not only raw strength but also the immense currents of expectation, fear, and desire that flowed from the world around its wielder. It was a mirror, reflecting the world's weight back onto Aella, twisting her triumph into an isolating burden. He worked late into the night, his lamp casting long shadows across the parchment. He knew time was of the essence. Aella, the strongest warrior, was unknowingly battling not just physical foes, but the very weight of the world, channeled through the dark, beautiful relic she now wore. He had to understand its true nature before the gauntlet consumed the woman he loved. Aella sparred against a training dummy, her movements echoing the fluid grace of a panther. Her strikes were powerful enough to shake the foundations of the training hall. Yet there was a flicker of hesitation in her eyes, a fleeting shadow of doubt that marred her otherwise fierce focus. She was lost in the labyrinth of her own thoughts, haunted by nightmares of a world that seemed to be crumbling under her very gaze. In her dreams, she saw a giant, a colossal titan whose form was wreathed in the same obsidian darkness that clung to the gauntlet. And the titan spoke, its voice a rumbling echo that reverberated through her bones. Embrace the burden, child of the void, for it is through the weight of worlds that you will truly ascend. When she awoke, gasping for breath, the first rays of dawn filtering through her window, she found herself trembling, not from exertion, but from the icy fingers of fear. What did the Titan's words mean? Was this the price of her victory, a descent into madness? Meanwhile, Lyraeus sat cross-legged in his room, surrounded by open books and scattered scrolls. His brow was furrowed in concentration as he traced the intricate patterns and diagrams etched onto an ancient artifact, one that hummed faintly with a power that resonated deep within his soul. Suddenly, his eyes widened, his gaze fixed on a particular passage that seemed to glow faintly. With trembling hands, he translated the archaic script, his voice hushed with awe and realization. It amplifies not only strength, but burdens, hopes, fears, and expectations. It is a vessel that channels the very essence of the world, a world that is ever changing, ever evolving. Aella emerged from the training hall, her steps heavy with the weight of her own doubts. She had sought solace in the familiar routine of combat, but even here, amidst the echoes of steel on steel, she couldn't outrun the whispers that haunted her waking hours. What was this oppressive force that threatened to crush her? A force that seemed to emanate from the very core of the Obsidian Gauntlet itself. As dusk painted the sky in hues of purple and crimson, Aella found herself drawn to the library, seeking solace in the silent company of ancient books. Little did she know that in the shadowed corners of this hallowed place, danger lurked, waiting to ensnare her in its icy grip. For the Obsidian Gauntlet, with its unfathomable powers, had not only attracted the attention of the world, but of forces that dwelt in the darkest recesses of imagination. And as the full moon hung heavy in the night sky, casting eerie shadows that danced ominously on the library walls, her nightmare was about to become all too real.